Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Tina. And today we are in the podcast studio because I wanted to show you the 2026 books that are currently on my TBR. It's September, yes, but I am already looking ahead to 2026. I've been getting some book mail from books that are coming out in 2026. So I thought it would be really fun for me to share my screen and show you what books I already have tabbed on Goodreads as want to read for 2026. Now, these books, I probably tabbed them because they are from authors that I've read from before that I really enjoy. I have no idea how many books are tabbed as 2026 want to read currently. So we could be here a while, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get this party started. I love looking at upcoming new releases. It is one of my most favorite things to do, and hopefully you all enjoy this as well. There are some big authors here that we have been waiting a while for in order for their new books to come out. All right, we are in my Goodreads, and look at this. Currently reading nothing. I will update that soon. I'm going to start Catabasis today, but before we do that, it's not too bad. I only have 28 books marked as 2026 reads, and you are all welcome to follow me on Goodreads. I will link that here in the show notes below just so you can have that, but let's go through this list. I am excited. Now, I want to go from, fantastic. Let's go from date added from oldest to newest. So the first day that I added the first 2026 book, that was in April. And that was the book Behind Closed Doors by Catherine Adele West. And I actually forgot, most of these I forgot was coming. All right, so Behind Closed Doors. Honestly, it gives me such joy to see this. I'm the first one to add it, or one of the first ones anyway. This one comes out on June 9th, 2026, and it is a thriller. I really like Catherine Adele West. She wrote the book Saving Ruby King, 5 stars, loved that book. This one is about a woman who disappears from a luxury hotel, and the detective who believes the case is tied to unsolved disappearances of other Black women in the city. She is a local to me author. She lives in Chicago, so this one looks like it's going to be in Chicago as well. Oh my gosh. And this sounds so interesting. The setting is a hotel. So it looks like this woman and a detective are investigating, and they're drawn deep into a labyrinth of power, privilege, and betrayal within the iconic hotel. I'm so excited for this one. I think that sounds really good. Next up is Rachel Hawkins's The Storm. Rachel Hawkins is a hit or miss author for me. It looks like we do not yet have a cover for this one. It comes out on January 6th. And this one, oh yes, we do have a cover. I've seen it, I want to say. But this, bet it's down here. I knew it. I was going to say, I know I've seen the cover for this one. Okay. This one is set in St. Medard's Bay, Alabama, and it's famous for 3 things: hurricanes that regularly sweep into town, the Rosalie Inn, a century-old hotel that survived every one of these storms, and Lo Bailey, the local girl infamously accused of the murder of her lover, political scion Landon Fitzroy, during Hurricane Maria in 1984. This I loved and added early on because it has several things that I like. I love a hurricane in a novel. I'm in Chicago. I've never experienced one, but I love one in a novel. I love a century-old hotel. Maybe hotels are going to be a trend for 2026. I'm going to keep track of some trends that I'm seeing, but I also love the idea of using this natural disaster to like murder somebody. You know what I mean? I like cover your tracks. So that one sounds really good. One that I added on May 3rd is Andrea Mara's It Should Have Been You. Now, this one I bet you is out already in the UK. Ooh, look at this cover. This is going to be published by Pamela Dorman Books in January of 2026. And it says, a suburban neighborhood starts to spiral when one text message causes a nasty chain reaction with horrifying consequences. Okay, so this is a domestic suspense set in a neighborhood, and I like that. That's what she did with her last novel. And it looks like a text message was meant for your sister, but instead it went out to the local community their WhatsApp group, and rumors spread like wildfire through the picture perfect neighborhood. And you convince yourself that people will move on, but then you receive the first death threat, and the next day a woman has been murdered. And what's even more chilling is that she had the same address as you, but it was in the wrong part of town. Did the killer get it wrong? It won't be long before you find out. I think that sounds so spooky. Of course, I had to add My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney to this list. Alice Feeney she's one of the authors that I will always be tempted to read her books. Whether or not I like them is debatable. I am going to do an author ranking on Alice Feeney at some point because I have big feelings about all of her books. She is the queen of twists. I will give that to her. She does have a good twist now and again in her books. This one, I don't love the title. My Husband's Wife feels like something we've seen, but maybe that's tongue in cheek and on purpose. This one is a psychological suspense that will leave you questioning everything you know about love, identity, and revenge. It sounds like the main character is an artist and returns to the home she recently moved into, and nothing as it should be. Her key doesn't fit. A woman eerily similar to her answers the door, and her husband insists that the stranger is his wife. I love it. I'm so curious how she's going to be able to pull it off. I really liked her book that came out this year in 2025, Beautiful Ugly. It is so polarizing for good reason, but you can see my ratings here. My favorite one from her is Sometimes I Lie. Looks like I have a lot of room to grow, though. I'm going to add these to my want to read list. Oh, only two. Rock, Paper, Scissors. This is an unpopular opinion, but I really didn't care for the writing. I'm somewhere between 2 and 3 stars on that one. Anywho, we're not here to rate Alice Feeney's books, are we? All right. Next up on my list is Adrift, another one that comes out in January. This one, I actually have a physical copy somewhere. So this one is a high tension thriller about a family's descent into darkness. And it is about these two aspiring writers who move on an isolated canal boat with their 14-year-old son. And apparently their son was bullied. And so that's going to be a part of why they went off the grid. And then the wife gets success in writing, and the husband gets frustrated and moves their boat further and further from civilization. Of course, that creates challenges for them. And then apparently Drew's gaslighting becomes too much for Peggy to take. And that sets off a catastrophic series of events. If I know my Will Dean, this will be very dark, and this also will have a lot of twists. This one comes out on February 17th. This one I think is going to be pretty buzzy. It's All the Little Houses by May Cobb. And she is the author of The Hunting Wives, a adaptation I still have not watched somehow. I did read the book and I liked it. This one is going to be Southern, full of secrets, full of small town gossip. And I like that it's set in the 1980s in Texas. And it's about Nellie Anderson, who's the beautiful daughter of the Anderson family dynasty. She always gets what she wants, but what she can't get for herself, well, her mother will get it for her. And her mom remembers growing up on the wrong side of the tracks. So she is really making it to where her daughter doesn't have those same challenges. And then when a prairie kissed family moves to town, all trad wife, woodworking dad, wholesome daughter vibes, her entire self-made social media empire threatens to crumble. And what will be left standing? That is another theme. That is another trend I'm noticing is trad wife content. It is everywhere. And I like it. I think it's fascinating. All right, this one's going to be more literary. And you've got Rebecca Kaufman's The Reservation. I've only read one book by Rebecca Kaufman, but I'm always tempted, and I love her covers. This one explores the loves and labors of an ensemble of more than a dozen restaurant workers as they strive to get perfect meals to the table. This is for fans of The Bear. Apparently, somebody steals 22 ribeye steaks, which is obviously a big problem. And it looks like somebody's writing terrible Yelp reviews and trying to sabotage the restaurant. And that's it. You're in this restaurant with these characters. My family owns a restaurant, and I love restaurant books or culture, and I haven't read one in a while. That one comes out on February 24th. This one I'm excited for. It's Love by the Book by Jessica George. Jessica George, her debut novel was Mame, and I loved that one. Love by the Book it's a friendship story, and it's about Remy, who is lucky. Her three best friends have always been there for her until the day they're not. One of them is moving to New York, one of them is pregnant, and one of them is busy with her awful boyfriend, and suddenly their foursome is splitting, and it feels like a breakup. And then she gets cut off from her family. And then when Simone and Remy meet in a bookshop, it doesn't go well, but they might just have bumped into exactly what they need. This isn't a romance, but it is about love. I want to know what she means by that. This one comes out on April 7th from St. Martin's Press. Next is This a Cry for Help by Emily Austen. And this one, as an author, I've actually not read before, but it is a novel that follows a librarian who comes back to work after a mental breakdown, only to confront book banning crusaders in an empowering story of grief, love, and the power of libraries. So it sounds like this one is going to take on book banning. And it looks like the main character is reeling because her ex boyfriend passed away, and that is what has caused her to take medical leave. Ooh, I think this sounds really good. It's a portrait of queer life after coming of age, but also powerfully explores questions about sexuality, community, and the importance of libraries. Yes, no wonder I added it to my want to read list. This comes out on January 13th. Crash Into Me is from Robin Lee. Robin Lee is the author of, what is that book called that I really liked? Oh, The Idea of You. And this is about Cecilia Chen, who gets into a fender bender, and she's shocked to find that she recognizes the swan-necked beauty she's mildly injured as a glamorous Anouk Ferrand, who she met at a photo shoot decades earlier. And this is a chance encounter that will change Celia's life. Interesting. It's kind of a strange. I'm having trouble understanding it because I think it's like writing as though it's writing to us about the book. And it says listeners will immediately recognize the dynamics of Cecilia's complicated marriage and her worries about raising her biracial children in a place she's not sure she wants to be. And it sounds like she is going to have potentially a physical and emotional entanglement with Anouk. But I know this is going to be spicy, and I'm super curious. We have a new one from Stephen Rowley called Take Me With You. This comes out on May 19th. He is the author of The Guncle. This one is about college professor Jesse Del Ruth, who's been abandoned 30 years into their relationship. Jesse witnesses his husband Norman get out of bed one night light, walk into their Joshua Tree backyard, into a strange beam of light, and disappear. Excuse me. So basically, you have this person who finds himself alone for one of the first times in his adult life. And then his partner's sister lands on their doorstep with an urgent request, and Norman's absence becomes even more profound. You know, there's going to be a lot of humor and a lot of love. Next is Blade by Wendy Walker. I love how random these are. This one's going to be a thriller. I don't like this cover. No offense to the designer and things, but it just doesn't do it for me. But it is about the elite world of figure skating. And Anna Robbins was an Olympic star in the making until tragedy forced her to leave the world behind. At the age of 16, she gave up her dream and never looked back. Now it's 14 years later, and she's a successful defense attorney. But when her former coach turns up dead, Anna lands right back where it all began, in the Palace, a world-renowned skating facility nestled high in the mountains of Colorado. This one sounds like it's going to be perfect for winter. And I hope I have an arc of this, because if not, I'm going to need to request one. New from Kate Ellis Marshall, you've got The Girls Before. And this is, let's see, a novel about a search and rescue expert, a kidnapped woman, and the lost girls who haunt them both. There's a girl in the basement. The door is stopped opening and the light is gone. A stranger is trapped in the dark with only her imagination and the scribbles on the wall left by long dead girls to keep her company. She's nearly out of food and water, then she makes one last attempt to escape. But if the door opens at last, will it mean salvation or only the beginning of her fight to survive? Audrey is a search and rescue expert who never stopped looking for her ex-best friend Janie, who disappeared when they were teenagers. Janie used to love the local legend of a forest witch who saves girls from bad men. But Audrey knows now that for everyone saved, there's always another one lost. And I wonder if these two point of view are going to converge. I'm always hit or miss with Kate Alice Marshall, and I loved What Lies in the Woods. I'm really hoping this one's as good as that one. Next is one called Yesteryear. And as I said, trad wives are going to have their moment next year if they haven't already this year. This one is about a traditional American woman, a beautiful wife and mother who sells her pioneer lifestyle of raw milk and farm fresh eggs to her millions of social media followers, suddenly awakens cold, filthy, and terrified in the brutal reality of 1805, where she must unravel whether this living nightmare is an elaborate hoax, a twisted reality show, or something far more sinister. This is a debut, and I'm so intrigued. I heard about this one. We did bookstore browse for Book Talk, etc., and talked to a bookseller named Katie. Had this meeting at the bookstore with Penguin Random House, and they said this one's going to be big next year. Finally, I will end here with Under Lake, another one I heard about from Katie. This is a debut about the interlocked fates of two women raised worlds apart who must join forces in an extraordinary journey, diving leagues beneath the water's surface and straight into the fathomless heart of fear, of fear, forgiveness, and love. Something called an underlake, and it's an entire valley in the town. It was flooded to make way for a dam, but the people in that town refused to leave, and now they're still living beneath the lake, self-proclaimed refugees of a world obsessed with change, connected by an intricate airtight system of tubes and sealed buildings. This sounds really intriguing. Comes out in April from Doubleday. But that is it for today. Thank you so much for being here. If you liked this video, obviously I have so many more on my Goodreads want to read list for 2026. I can do a part 2 if you would like. Just let me know. But tell me, which of these books are you adding to your TBR? As I mentioned, feel free to follow me on Goodreads. I'll link that below, and I will link all of the titles below as well. But hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.